Please welcome Chief Rabbi of the United Hebrew Congregations of Great Britain and the Commonwealth, Rabbi Ephraim Mirvis.
Yehuda Avner used to tell the story of David Ben-Gurion, who in 1947 was invited by the British High Commissioner to dinner in his official residence in Jerusalem. During the course of the dinner, Ben-Gurion stood up, he took off his jacket, he perched it on the seat behind him, and he sat down again. The High Commissioner noticed. He took a piece of paper out of his pocket, he scribbled a note. He called a waiter, and the waiter took the note to Ben-Gurion, and he read the message. Dear Mr. Ben-Gurion, please have respect and put your jacket back on. Ben-Gurion flipped the piece of paper around, and he scribbled a note. He called the waiter. The waiter took it over to the High Commissioner, and he read it. Dear High Commissioner, I have permission from your Prime Minister to keep my jacket off. Well, that having been said, the jacket stayed off until the end of the dinner. At the end of the event, Ben-Gurion came over to his host. He thanked him for his hospitality, but the High Commissioner was angry. He said to Ben-Gurion, how can you explain the fact that my Prime Minister in London has given you permission here in Jerusalem to keep your jacket off? Yes, said Ben-Gurion, it actually happened. You see, he said, earlier this year in January, I was in London for a few weeks. There was a conference in the Middle East. During the course of my stay, I was invited to dinner at 10 Downing Street. During the course of the dinner, I took my jacket off, and the Prime Minister noticed. He took a piece of paper out of his pocket, and he scribbled a note. A waiter brought the note to me, and this is what I read. Mr. Ben-Gurion, when you are in Jerusalem, you can do as you wish. But here in London, I insist, put your jacket back on. Ladies and gentlemen, ever since that time, prime ministers of Israel and key Jewish leaders have been warmly and graciously welcomed in 10 Downing Street. But during the last year, we were filled with deep anxiety. What would happen if the next incumbent would be Jeremy Corben? What would the consequences be for Jews and Judaism and the State of Israel? And we recognized that the weight of historic responsibility was on our shoulders because a Corbyn victory would send a negative message right around the world. But if Corbyn could be defeated, that would send a positive and encouraging message to Jewish communities and our many friends around the world. On the 12th of December 2019, not only was Labour defeated, it was an emphatic landslide victory. Allow me to share with you today 3 brief lessons from our British experience. The first relates to Jewish unity. When I published my op-ed in the Times, in which I declared that Jeremy Corben was unfit to hold high office, a piece that was well received by the British public, I did so not in a unilateral manner, but rather in concert with key Jewish figures and Jewish organizations, because on the matter of anti-Semitism, we have always acted as one. That is why our voice has been heard and our views have been respected. Today, I issue a call to the Jews of America. Please take a leaf out of our book and please speak with one voice. The issue is urgent, it is critical, it is of huge importance to our future. We cannot afford to be divided. What this therefore means is that where there is anti-Semitism, which is prevalent to our left, those who are politically active on the left must see it for what it is and must counter it. And where there is anti-Semitism, which is prevalent on the right, those who are politically active on the right must see it for what it is, and they must confront it. There is only one path for us, and that is the bipartisan route. The second lesson, Da lifnei mi ata omed. Know before whom and what you stand. You need to be able to define the problem. If there isn't a clear definition of anti-Semitism, you won't be able to identify who the perpetrators are. Sitting in this hall here today is Lord Eric Pickles, who was responsible for the fact that in December 2016, the British government was the first government in the world to adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. Thanks to IHRA, we have clarity on the matter, particularly on the sensitive and important issue surrounding Israel and Zionism. As a result, if somebody criticizes a particular policy of the government of Israel, that doesn't mean that that person is necessarily anti-Semitic. But if somebody denies the right of the Jewish people to have their state, that is a different matter. Very often we see that attempts to demonize the state of Israel are none other than attempts to demonize the Jewish people. We need to see it for what it is. We must confront it, and we must defeat it. And the final lesson. Next week we will be celebrating the festival of Purim. We will recall how Mordechai sent a message to Queen Esther in the palace of King Achashverosh. Umi yodea, im la'et kazot, higad lamalchut. Who knows, it is probably for this very moment, this time of urgency, that you were given your power and influence. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my message to all of you today. You are in positions of leadership. You have influence. Please use it with all you've got at this time for the sake of Jews and Judaism and Medinat Yisrael, and please use your influence fearlessly and with courage. That is what the Jews of the United Kingdom have done together with our many friends, and the results are there to be seen. So consequently, let us act with one voice. Let us do so with a clear vision, and let us use our courage. And if that is the case, not only can we prevail, we will prevail. God bless you all.